So, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Off the Charts. This is actually our first episode of 2022, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys again. Of course, if you have not checked out any of the previous videos that I've done, just head on over to YouTube, or if you're already on YouTube, make sure that you check the Off the Charts playlist, and you'll see all the previous episodes from before. Also, if you are new, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and comment if you're feeling anything that I'm saying. If you can relate, I would love to hear about it. But yeah, today's topic is called Words Have Power, right? And I know we've definitely all heard that phrase before, but do we actually like really understand what that means? Right? Because we speak every day, we have conversations every single day. Like unless you're genuinely a mute, you're going to end up communicating in some type of capacity and using your words, right? Whether English is your first language, whether English is your second language, you're going to end up communicating again in some type of way. So I think it's important to understand the words that we're actually using so we can be more intentional with how we are actually speaking, right? Because if we know what we're saying, then we should know exactly what the outcome is going to be. For example, have you ever noticed if somebody is always saying, "Oh my God, today is just such a it's just such a bad day," right? It's not necessarily a bad day, but they could be having a bad moment. But because they said that, right? Because they spoke that, that continued to happen throughout their day. I know there have been plenty of times where personally I have woken up on the wrong side of the bed and I just stayed in that energy all day because I woke up and one wrong thing happened or one thing I perceived as wrong happened. I continued to go throughout my day with just a negative mindset because I'm like, this happened now. And it didn't happen yet, but I'm saying this happened. Now this is going to happen. Now watch me get stuck at this red light. Now watch it start raining. Now watch, now watch, now watch. So everything I'm speaking is coming true, but I'm acting surprised and reacting negatively when it happens. But I literally spoke that into my life. If you guys can relate to that scenario, just drop some sevens in the chat, right? Because we're going to talk about how you have to be extremely mindful, right? Not only of the things that you are thinking, but of the things that you are writing, the things that you are saying, and what you are allowing to enter your spirits, right? What are you allowing to enter your body on a soul level, right? So I really want you guys to have your notebooks on today's episode because it's going to be a lot of words, a lot of definitions. I may drop some notes after the call, but it's going to be a lot. And I want you to be able to process it and to read it back so you can understand. And I also highly encourage you because this is a habit that I have. I know a few of my friends do the same thing. Is like if we continuously see the same word or hear the same name, we look it up. Or if you have a word that you associate with yourself, maybe you like, or when somebody asks you to go out, for example, like let's just say your friends want to hang out, your family want to go out, they want to go on vacation. You're like, oh, I can't, I'm broke, right? You're literally saying that about yourself and you're making it true. So we just need to be more careful and mindful with how we're speaking to ourselves and the words that we are saying. So the first definition that I'm going to give you guys is the word good, right? Because typically when people ask us, how you doing? Right? 9 times out of 10, you're not going to give them the whole spiel of how you're actually doing. Oh my God, I'm stressed out because I have a bill due, but I have another bill due, but I want to go on vacation. And I have like you're not going to sit there and tell them every single thing that you're going through. You're typically just going to say, oh, I'm fine, oh, I'm good, and you. Right. But if you were actually good, then you would not have to hide any of that about yourself and you will be able to say it with more conviction and more confidence. So the word good actually means, right? You guys can write this down if you're taking notes. It means morally excellent, right? You are satisfactory in quality, right? You are in high quality and you are excellent, right? But 9 times out of 10, that's not actually the case of what is going on, right? So you say you're good, but you're not actually feeling good. So when you start to feel good, you can't really equate that with anything positive because you haven't been positively associating that word with what you're feeling, right? So we start to wear masks on the daily basis and we just get in the habit. If you've ever just gotten in the habit, or if you are in the habit now of telling people you're good when you're not actually good, just again, drop some sevens in the chat, right? Because we really are misusing that word. And it's not to say that you can't be good because you actually can, but you have to speak it and you actually have to believe it, right? If you genuinely believe that you are morally excellent, right? And you are good, right? Then that is amazing. But don't mask what you're actually feeling And it's not saying that you have to go and spill your heart out to every person that asks you, but it's fine to say, I'm okay, right? I'm all right, because you also want to be honest with yourself so that you can give yourself the attention that you need if you're not actually feeling good. So I would kind of say save words like, oh, I'm good, I'm great for special occasions, and don't really use them as a mask to hide what you're feeling, because then nobody will ever know. And it's also okay to ask for help as well, right? So I'm just going to read the definition of good, right? You guys can Google this. That's exactly what I did. And it means morally excellent, right? It also has some other words here: virtuous, righteous, right? And a lot of us aren't really living the way we should be living. We aren't really living righteous. So we don't want to project that and then not be able to handle what comes with that, right? So if you guys understand, just drop some ones in the chat, right? Because you can actually create the life that you want. Like, just because you're not feeling that way right now, right? Just because you're not feeling that way right now, this is not to make anybody feel bad. That's not to say that you can't actually manifest the reality that you want, because that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about how to actually get you there using your words, right? And using your belief, right? And that's actually going to be the second definition that we're going to be focusing on today, because it's extremely important. We hear that word so many times. You have to believe, you have to believe, you have to believe, you have to believe. Especially if you are in any type of network marketing industry, they're going to say increase your belief. That's what it's all about. You have certain teachers like Bob Proctor who focuses on belief. You have even more modern teachers like David E. Monetier who focuses on belief. But when is the last time we actually sat down with the dictionary to look up what does that mean? What does belief look like? Because if I don't know what that is, right, if I don't truly understand what that is, how can I incorporate that into my life, right? So the word belief, right? And I want you guys to also write this down if you're taking notes, because this is something that you need to let sink in, right? We learn through repetition. That's why we're in school for so many years. That's why we are tested. That's why you just learn through repetition. You have to continuously hear something, right? The same way that you had to continuously hear your name as a child before you knew that was your name is the same way you have to work on your belief, right? So the definition, if you were to Google belief, is an acceptance, right? And that's important, an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists, right? And acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists, right? Then they have a second definition here as well, right? And if you guys are ready for the second definition, just drop some twos in the chat and take some notes, because we are starting off 2022 on the right foot, right? We are starting off 2022 on the right foot. All right, awesome. Awesome. So the second definition of belief is trust, faith, or confidence in someone or something, right? So it's trust, faith, or confidence in someone or something, right? But I want to get back to the acceptance that a statement is true or that something actually exists, because that's extremely important when it comes to belief, right? Now, what I learned is that, and I love talking about this, is that belief, right, is actually synonymous with faith, right? Because faith is believing something that you cannot see, but you only know is true because you said it. Right now, a lot of people think faith is blind. Some people do act on blind faith. But faith is actually very intentional, because if I say right now, I am going to be a multi-millionaire, right? If I say, if I write this down, if I tell myself this every day, I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family, and I accept that that statement is true, that means that I actually believe it. That means that I actually believe it. And if I believe it, right, and if I have faith, I know that it's going to happen, right? I know that it's going to happen. Faith is not trusting. It is trusting something bigger than yourself, but faith is knowing that whatever you say and whatever you say and whatever you speak is going to be real, no matter what it is you say and that you speak, right? Because if you're always saying, literally, and it could be as small as this, if you're always saying, oh my God, I'm so tired, oh, I'm so broke, oh, I'm so tired of this, oh, I'm so tired of that, I don't like this, I don't like that, then you're only going to attract those types of things into your life, because that's all you're speaking, right? Which means that those are the only statements that you're hearing, which means that those are the only statements that you're going to accept, because it's all you hear all the time, which means that your faith is strong and that those things will happen because that's what you continue to speak, right? If this is making sense, y'all, drop some ones in the chat, right? If you need me to run it back, drop some twos in the chat, right? And it's actually 222 right now, right? It's actually 222 right now. So that's amazing. And it's 2022, the year of double blessings, right? Awesome. Awesome. We got it. So belief is extremely important, right? Because if somebody tells you to believe, or and this is why people don't believe in things because they haven't been exposed to that statement. They haven't been exposed to maybe that lifestyle. Maybe they haven't been exposed to that tax bracket, right? So they can't accept something that's true that they never seen or they don't understand, right? But I've seen millionaires my age. I've seen multimillionaires my age. I've seen young black women, right, multi-millionaires my age, right? So I can say that for myself because I can accept it as true or something that exists. I can believe that, right? And I can have the confidence in someone, myself, right, or something, which is the words that I'm saying, because the words that I speak are obviously going to create my reality, right? And something else that I learned is that the future happens first, right? The future happens first because you say it and then it happens, right? But you think it, you say it, and then it happens, right? So it's just really interesting. I'll probably do that on another money mantra call. Just breaking down some of the other teachings of Dr. David Imonitie. If you do not know who he is or listen to him, you can follow him on Instagram because he really be dropping gems, or even just do a quick search for him on YouTube and some really helpful videos will come up, right? So now that we understand what belief is, saying something, right, until like just statements that we accept, right? And this could be positive or negative, right? And I really need you guys to understand that you can accept positive or negative statements. But today and going forward for the rest of the year and the rest of our lives, we're going to only accept positive statements. And when the negative statements come in, we're just going to say, I don't believe that, which means that I don't accept that, right? Whenever that thought comes into your head, you're not good enough. You're not a good trader. You're not going to hit this level. You're not going to do this. Just say, I don't accept that, which means I don't believe that, which means it has no place or presence in your life. You have control of your thoughts, and that's extremely important to understand, right? Now, once you understand what belief is, then you can really get into manifesting. And manifesting is a word. If you heard the word manifesting, everybody on this call should definitely be dropping some ones in the chat. If you've ever heard the word manifest in your life, right? Or you heard the word manifest a lot in 2021, just drop some ones in the chat, right? Because that is a word that we say all the time, but it's another action word and it's something that we need to know how to do, right? We could say let's focus on manifest, or manifest your goals, manifest your visions, manifest your dreams. And there's a bunch of definitions that are floating around about the word manifest. There are a bunch of books and things that'll teach you how to manifest, but it's really understanding what the word actually means so that you know how to apply it, right? We understand what the word walk means, right? We understand what the word run means. So in different situations, we know when to apply those things. It's the same thing with every other word. You have to understand it at its core so that you can know how to properly apply it in your life. Now, the word manifest, the most simple definition that I found for it, and you guys can really write this down. Hopefully, it'll make your lives easier. It made my life easier. And it's a clear or no, something that is clear or obvious to your mind, right? Clear or obvious to your eye or your mind. That was just like, wow, the most mind blowing, simple definition I've ever heard of manifest. And I'm going to say it again because I messed up the first time. Something clear or obvious to the eye or to the mind. Now that seems like a very simple definition, which is why I had to dig a little deeper, and I wanted to give you guys the definition of eye, right, and also the definition of the word mind, because it really gets so deep. Have you ever, I know I used to do this all the time, have you ever read a book and or you was just reading a page in a book and none of the words in the sentence made sense, and you didn't look up the words, you just kind of went to the next sentence, like if that's ever been you, would just drop some threes in the chat. Like, just drop some threes in the chat. But I've also been the type of person to stop and look up words sometimes. Like, once I got into college, I'm like, nah, I can't just let these words breeze past my mind. Like, I have to stop and actually comprehend what I'm reading, because reading comprehension is important, right? So I, right, just EYE, right? Of course, it can be your physical opticals, but another definition of I, which I found is amazing, is something central, right? Something central. And when something's central, right, that means it's in the middle, right? It's at the core, it's easy to access. You can access this from any direction, right? And then mind, right? I, you can just write down the definition for I as something central, because we're going to run it back and I'm going to show you how all these things really go together. And you have to understand how simple it is, but how complex it is. But the power is in your hands to change your life. Like that is a promise, right? That's something I believe because I accept that statement. But the mind, of course, I'm going to give you guys a quick definition is, you can Google this as well. The mind is about mental processes, thoughts, and consciousness, right? And I'm gonna just leave it at that because that's the simplest definition, right? The mind is about mental processes, thoughts, and consciousness, right? So if we're manifesting something, because the definition of manifesting for the people who are just joining us, today's topic is words have power. And I'm just going into depth about some common words that we hear as we're trying to attract more money or attract more success and bring things into our lives. And I'm just making it a little bit more clear so that we really understand what's going on here. Because it's not just something that they write about in books, right? It's not just something that you see other people doing that you can't have for yourself. This is really all science, right? It's literally all science, guys. And I encourage you and I challenge you to always look up words and at least try to learn one new word a day, right? And preferably a word that you've been hearing a lot. So when you manifest, right, that just means that something is clear or obvious to the eye of the mind, right? And then the eye is something central, and the mind is about mental processes, thoughts, and consciousness. So if you're manifesting something, you have a clear thoughts, right? You have a clear thoughts and consciousness about what's going on and what's going to happen, right? So manifesting isn't, it can be very magical, but it's also very scientific as well. If we hold an idea in our thoughts, if we hold an idea in our thoughts and in our minds, right, and we are conscious of this idea and of this thought, and we believe that it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I feel like where most people go wrong in this process is that they don't have enough faith, right? And we know that to have faith means that you're repetitiously telling yourself something until you believe it. Not until it happens, but until you believe it. Because once you believe it, it's going to happen because you've accepted it. And in order for anything to happen in our body, it has to happen in our minds first, right? And I say this all the time. The mind is broken into two parts, right? It's like a circle, it's like this, right? And you have the top half, which is your conscious mind. This is it's a part of your mind. It's your consciousness, is what you're seeing, is what you're feeling, is what you're thinking, it's your five senses. Then you have your subconscious mind, which then everything trickles into, like every little bird you see, every butterfly you see, every piece of dust, every conversation you overhear, every person you look at, every song on the radio, every commercial on the radio, tire screech, every single thing that you experience sensory wise throughout the day is going into your subconscious, no filter, right? So if you're not mindful of the places that you're going, the people that you're talking to, the conversations that you're having, if you're not mindful of the people that you're following on Instagram, the music that you're listening to, the books that you're reading, if you're not mindful of the websites that you're visiting, the food that you're eating, like you're gonna feel like you're all over the place. You're gonna constantly feel anxious. You're gonna constantly feel stressed. You're gonna constantly feel agitated, and you're just never going to find any peace or balance because you're letting that chaos manifest itself in your life because it's evident and it's clear that you don't have a filter. Like before you go to bed at night, you really need to tell yourself, I'm so grateful for the day that I had today. I'm so grateful for the experiences that I had, but you need to put a cap before you go to bed and also tell yourself, right, what you want to dream about. Tell yourself in your dream where you want to go. Have conversations with yourself before you sleep because you have to shut out the world, right? You really have to shut out the world and be mindful again of the things that are trickling into your mind, right? Because all this is going to interfere with your manifesting. And this is how, if you're trying to manifest a lot of money, right? You're trying to manifest a lot of money, not just to have money, not just to spend money, but to actually create generational wealth within your family. That is what you want to believe, right? That's something that you're telling yourself. whether it's happening or not, that may be a desire that you have. But throughout the day, you may be listening to songs that talk about spending money. You may be listening to songs that talk about everything but saving money, right? If you're not consciously pouring into yourself to reinforce that goal that you set, then you're unconsciously manifesting the opposite, right? If that makes sense, y'all, drop some ones in the chat, right? And I really think that's something you should write down as well. If you're not consciously manifesting something that you want, then you're unconsciously manifesting something that you don't want, right? Because this is just the laws of nature. This is just the laws of nature. If something is not going one way, it's going the other way. So if your life is not on the upswing, if you're not talking to yourself kindly, if you're not bigging yourself up, if you're not giving yourself compliments, if you're not taking risk on yourself, if you're not loving yourself, then you're literally doing the opposite. That means you're taking losses, you're accepting losses, you're accepting negative self-talk, you're accepting going down in life versus going up in life because there is no standing still. There's just no standing still, right? And then for the people who say, oh, well, that's just the way I am, I'm old enough, I'm too old to change, you're literally going against the fundamental principle of life, which is nothing stays the same, right? Nothing stays the same. So you have to be ready and willing to change, right? You have to be ready and willing to change. And I'm going to give you guys the definition of ready, right? Because we hear this word a lot too. Even it's like, get ready, stay ready. I stay ready, so I don't got to get ready. I know that's something I say a lot, but when you actually look at the word, is this something that you're doing or are you holding yourself back, right? And the definition of ready is a suitable state for an activity, action, or situation, right? To be ready means to be in a suitable state for activity, action, or situation. Right now, if we're constantly telling ourselves, oh, I'm so tired, oh, I'm so this, oh, I'm not good enough, if you're letting those negative thoughts play over and over and over and over and over again in your head, you're not in a suitable state for change, right? You're not ready to take action. You're not in a situation to do that. But you can be. You just have to tell yourself that that's what you want. When I find myself going backwards, so I feel like I'm having a bad mental health day, I just simply tell myself, I choose joy. Like, it's really that simple. I'll be like, I choose joy. I don't want to think about this. And it's not like I'm pushing it off. I'm literally stopping it in its track so that it does not have control over me, because at that moment, I'm ready for action and I'm ready to change. Right. And for people who are in the network marketing business and you feel like you've been launching, you've been trying to get people in your business, it's like maybe you're just talking to the wrong type of people who are not ready. You cannot chase somebody and beg them to change. It's just not going to work. People are only going to change when they're ready to change, right? They're only going to change when they're ready to take action. Like, how many times have you tried to get yourself to change a habit about yourself? Like, if you've ever tried to get to change a hard habit about yourself, this could be your diet, this could be working out, this could be certain vices or habits that you have. If you've ever had a hard time making a change within yourself, drop some tools in the chat, right? We should do tools all 2022, right? If you've ever done that, that's it's obvious. Like, it's really hard to change yourself. So how hard do you think it is to change somebody else? Right? If they're not ready to change, the reason why you're here and you're in this position and you're on this call and you're hearing this information is because you're ready to receive this information, right? You came here for a reason. You didn't just come here to be a spectator. You came because you feel like you're ready to receive something that's going to take you to the next level, or that's actually going to change your life, or you wouldn't be here, right? We make choices and decisions every single day, right? And I also have the definition of change here as well, because you have to be ready to change. And when you see how simple it is, you're going to be like, wow, right? Because the definition of change is just a slight shift, right? A slight shift in position, direction, or tendency. Y'all, it's slight. Do you guys understand that change takes a nanosecond? Like, a nanosecond is like a nanosecond, like it's quicker than a second. That's how quick it is to change. Like, I can go from looking straight and 1 second I'm looking this way and 1 second I'm looking this way. Like, what do you think your mind is doing? Like, what do you think your life is doing? Like, you have to be in control of your life at all times. And you, when you're driving, think about reaching a destination to your goals as you're driving, right? We don't stay in one, like, this is such a good analogy. We don't stay in one lane forever. Don't you switch lanes, right? Don't you sometimes switch highways? Even if you're on a long trip. Don't you sometimes switch drivers, right? Don't you sometimes park on the right side of the street and sometimes park on the left side of the street? Don't sometimes you do a K turn and sometimes you do a U turn, right? If you guys understand what I'm saying, just drop some sevens in the chat. Like, you have to be willing to change. You have to be ready and willing to change if that's genuinely what you want. It's not a straight path to success, right? Even if I'm just going to Wendy's, right? That's not that far from my house. I just can't drive straight to Wendy's because that's not the way to go. I literally have to make a left, make a right. If it's other cars, I may have to maneuver around them, right? And we have to be ready to do that. You just can't drive straight forever or go in one direction just because you want to. That doesn't even make sense. Like, think about your path to success right now. And if you were driving on one road straight forever, like Route 66, which is like one of the longest routes in America, it would be boring to you, first of all, and it's just not realistic. You're going to have to change, and you have to be ready to do that, right? Because if this car is going slow and you got to get over, you're going to get over. You're not just going to stay behind that car, right? You're going to do what you have to do to get where you got to go. If I'm right, y'all, drop a seven in the chat, right? You're willing to change because you're going to do what you got to do to get where you got to go, right? So the last thing we're going to talk about today, because this is the most important thing and it really sums up everything, is we're going to talk about paradigm, right? And how shifting or changing your paradigm. Remember, a change is a slight shift, right? It's a slight shift in position, direction, or tendency. This means you can do one extra thing a day to get closer to your goal, right? If your goal is to become a better trader, that means you could spend, even if you spend 5 extra minutes, right? Even if you spend 5 extra minutes learning something new, right? Even if you spend 1 extra hour, right, learning a new educator, right? You may have to loop it into your schedule, but this is called the Razor's Edge. The Razor's Edge is doing one additional activity to get you closer to your goal. Because did y'all know that it's only 1 degree of difference between water being water and water being steam? Like, just really think about that. It's 1 degree of difference between water being water and water being steam, right? There's 1 degree of difference between something being solid, like a piece of ice, and something melting, right? That's such a, it's only 1% of people that are actually reaching their goals and successful in the world, right? So we should understand that this 1% is very crucial and critical, right? If you like that 1% is critical. From water to steam, that's critical. Like, that can really make or break a situation. When you're building, I would never do this, and I don't like roller coasters for this reason. It's physics, y'all. It has to be so precise. And if they just decided, oh, I ain't gonna be precise today, I'm gonna just be 1% off. That's not good. That's not good at all. So that 1% margin, that little thing that you think is not important, is actually important. That turning off your phone, before, like not scrolling on your phone before bed, you don't think it's that important because it helps you fall asleep. That's actually important. That scrolling aimlessly on Instagram, you think, oh, it's not that important, I'm just wasting time while I'm on break. It's actually important because it's still going into your subconscious. You may be having dreams about stuff that you don't even know why you're having dreams about that thing, but you saw it for a split second online or outside somewhere, right? We have to be willing to take control of our paradigm, right? Because our paradigm is the central system that controls every single thing about us. It controls how we respond to people. It controls how we respond to ourselves. It controls how we think about money. It controls how we think about our self-image. It controls how we think about love, marriage. It literally controls every single thing about you. Every single habitual behavior that you have when you get out of bed, if you do the same thing every time you get out of bed, every single time you sleep on the same side of the bed, you get up, you stretch, you use the bathroom, you brush your teeth, you take the same route to work, that is your paradigm. That's your programming. Just think about your paradigm as your personal programming, right? And that is extremely important for you to understand because you can change that if you don't like it, right? I know when I was a kid and we had CDs, right? And I didn't want what was on that CD no more, I would do a rewrite and I would just rewrite what was on that CD and I would make a whole nother CD. Like, it was just that simple, right? Or even VHSs. I used to record stuff on VHS. If I don't want to watch that anymore, I'm going to record something else, right? Even more modern, DVR, right? If I have a DVR, if I don't want to watch that, I can delete it, literally delete it, or I can record something over it, right? Make space for something else, right? If you guys have a DVR or you've ever had recorded television, you know what I'm talking about. Like you literally can have so many episodes of something that you're, if you guys know what I'm talking about, drop some threes in the chat, right? Because you can have so many episodes of something. Like I know I probably had like 50 episodes of 2020 Dateline, right? That I was not watching. And when I wanted to record something that I actually wanted to watch, I had to take off the old stuff to make room for the new stuff, right? I had to clean it up. And you got to think about your paradigm the same exact way. You don't like literally think about what's in your mind because your mind works in images. You don't like what you're seeing in there, change the channel, right? You're not like it when Netflix is playing, go to Hulu. Like you really have the opportunity, right? And as a human being, right, you have the privilege to actually change the channel of your mental programming. Like that's just when I learned that and I understood it, it was genuinely mind blowing. It was genuinely mind blowing because I was like, wow, I've just been doing the same things, saying the same things. Like even the way you respond to stuff is all based on your programming, right? I don't know how many times people say this, but they're like, I don't have a lot of genuine connections because people are not genuine. Everybody's just programmed. If you ask somebody how they doing, oh, I'm good, oh, I'm good too. Programming, right? Because y'all can actually sit there and have a conversation to see how you're really feeling. And some real healing could come out of that conversation. But we're not programmed to do that, right? We're not programmed to heal. We're not programmed to get better. We're programmed for fear, right? If you guys, I don't know, I don't watch the news, but if you guys have seen the news lately, I'm pretty sure it's some scary stuff on there, right? Whether you're watching the world news, scary stuff on there. Whether you're watching local news, scary stuff on there. Like I don't want that stuff in my program, and therefore I don't pay attention to it. Right? I don't want that in my program, and so I cannot pay attention to it. Right? And that's just how we have to start to move in the world. Anything that is not a part of your tunnel vision, anything that's not genuinely helping you get to the next level, you have to take it out of your programming. Like you literally have to take it out of your program. And it may be some things that you're not even aware as a part of your programming because it's so deeply in there. And I really want to just talk about self-image for a few minutes. Like your self-image is a part of your programming and it plays a major role in how you respond to the world around you and other people. Um, Cybernetics. I always forget who wrote it, but I think his last name was Waltz. He wrote a book called Cybernetics. He was a surgeon, a cosmetic surgeon, and he would pretty much people would get plastic surgery, they didn't like it, they would go to him, he would fix it. And he realized that this was all about people's self-image. Like if they surgery was botched, of course they wasn't happy because that's not the way they saw themselves in their head. And because that's not what they saw in their head, that related directly to how they was feeling about themselves because how they were feeling in the image that they saw didn't correspond. So once he did a reconstructive surgery, he would find that they would feel better about themselves because their mental image actually matched the feelings that they had about themselves. So I say all this to say is that the mental image that you hold of yourself is very important to how you're feeling. If you see yourself as somebody who is never going to have enough and who is never going to be good enough and who is never going to make it, that's going to really take a toll on your self-esteem. And you're not really going to feel good about that because why would you feel good about something like that? But again, the privilege of being a human being and having control of your mind is that you can change the mental picture that you see of yourself. Like you literally can take at least, and I highly recommend that you do this, take 5 to 10 minutes out of your day, minimum. That's what's recommended to just visualize who you actually want to be, right? Because when you actually, the thing is, we never really take time to do it. It's not that we can't do it. It's not that we don't think we want to be this great person, but how much time do you spend with that image in your mind? Most of the time, you're just going through life, going to work, sitting on the charts, doing whatever you're doing during the day, and you're not taking time to create a positive mental image. So you're just going off of what other people told you. You're just going off of the past. You're just going off of a previous relationship. You're just going off of Instagram because you spend most of your time on Instagram. So your self-image is now associated with comparing yourself to other people, and it don't have to be. Take 5 to 10 minutes out of your day and just really visualize your dream body, visualize your dream bank account, visualize your dream home, and you're really going to start to feel so good, even if it's just 10 minutes. Like you have to put yourself in that energy and you have to feel it because the image that you hold and the feeling that you feel is going to get you to the results that you want, right? So 10 minutes, like even if you get distracted, you feel like you can't do it, it's like nobody's there with you, you're not having a conversation with nobody, this is you versus you, Like, if you really want that dream body, sit with yourself for 10 minutes and just think about it and just smile and hug yourself for getting it and putting in the work. Be grateful in advance. If you want that dream house, literally just sit there and visualize yourself, like literally turning the handle to the door once you finally get your own space or your own home, right? If you want that new car, just literally visualize yourself sitting in the driver's seat, driving off the lot, if that's what you want, right? If you want to be a millionaire, a 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure, 10-figure earner, whatever you want, just sit there and just have all the gratitude in the world as if it already happened, because it's only 10 minutes and we daydream about, I don't want to say dumb stuff, but dumb stuff all day long. Like, we daydream just to take our minds off things, but daydreaming is so powerful, right? This is the same reason why you could have a crush on somebody, you could daydream about that person, and then they may text or call you, right? That's the same reason, because you manifested it, you attracted it, you attached a mental image to a feeling, you put it out there in the world and it responded. But you need to learn to stop projecting and using your energy for other people and to really reel it in and use it for yourself. Like, we have very strong imaginations. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. That quote has just resonated with me so much more in recent years because it's so freaking true. Like, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Like, if somebody took away your ability to imagine, tragic. If somebody took away your ability to believe, and that's crazy. Like, don't ever let anybody take away your ability to believe, right? Just know that whatever you say is going to come to pass, whether for the best, for better, or for worse. Whatever you say is going to come to pass, right? And there's no time period when it's going to happen, but if you say it, it's going to happen, period. Some stuff happens quicker than others. Some stuff we can pull in within a week. Some stuff we can pull in within a month. But if you're asking for a mega mansion and a lot of money, it's going to take some years for that thing to pull in, because everything in life is happening at the same time. It's not like the money can automatically be in your account. It literally has to get from where it's currently already at in the world into your account, and that's going to take some time. So hopefully this really resonated with you guys, and you guys walked away with just a better understanding of some common words. The words that we did go over today are belief, good, manifest, I, mind, ready, paradigm, and change. And then the last one I have here, because I think this is super important, because this is what we're all after. Whether you want time freedom, whether you want health freedom, whether you want financial freedom, travel freedom, you are just seeking for, and this is the word freedom, right? The power, and this is so powerful. I just love this. Freedom is the power or right to act, speak, or think, which is important, right? Some people can't even think the way they want. To act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint, right? So freedom is the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. So that is going to be the end of today's money mantra off the charts episode. If you guys got some value from this call, just drop some twos in the chat, right? Because we just want double blessings, we want double confirmations, we want double money, we want double clears in the market, we want double TPs, we want double garages, we want double houses, we want a vacation home, we want double flights, we want both seats so we could be more comfortable. We want it all, and we coming for it all in 2022 and beyond. So thank you guys so much for plugging in. I will be posting this video on YouTube tomorrow at 2:00 p.m. So if you need to hear the message again, it will be here for you. And for everybody else, make sure you check out the Off the Charts playlist, which is also on YouTube as well. And like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel if you like this video and you want to see more content like this. Love you guys. Bye.